Iman hid her daughter for good reason. When Bowie died, his daughter went downhill and nearly died. She breached every vow and damaged her loved ones. She then filled the hole with deadly things. After that, things changed. Her April 2025 record reached number 3. Lots of people bought her drawings. She resembled her parents, but better. Her former acquaintances couldn't tell her from the broken girl she was. Bowie was born David Robert Jones in Brixton, London, on January 8, 1947. He lived at 40 Stansfield Road. A gritty working-class neighborhood was recovering from WWEI. A nearby movie theater waitress, Margaret Peggy Burns, was his mother. His father, Haywood Stenton John Jones, worked for a children's charity. Bowie often called himself a real wartime baby because his life was affected by war. From boisterous Brixton to tranquil Yorkshire Hills, he felt a curious mix of feelings. At 6, he loved dancing and was smart and persistent. Everything changed for Bowie at 15. Because of a battle over Carol, a female, George Underwood, Bowie's best friend, was his pal from age 9. After Underwood set Carol up a date, Bowie said she loved him better. The next day, Underwood hit Bowie in the left eye at school in anger. One punch was devastating. Bowie never closed his left lens. It gave him a peculiar, captivating look in one eye. Bowie later praised Underwood for hurting him. That wounded eye became his characteristic look and helped him be remembered. Bowie's older half-brother Terry Burns was also influential. Terry introduced Bowie to rock and Jack Kerouac. With Allen Ginsberg, Terry had mental health issues. Bowie saw him come and leave from hospital. Stepping in front of a train in 1985 killed him. Bowie was devastated. After many years, Bowie penned Jump They Say to cope with his shame and loss. Bowie was meant to get a regular job at 16 after graduating. His work was shaped by loss and dread after losing Terry. Bowie refused to work as an electrician's helper until his mother offered. At 13, he discovered jazz and learnt the saxophone. His 1963 bands included the Conrads and the King Bees, and he wanted to be famous. Liza Jane, the first song, peaked poorly. Every band he joined and song he released was lost. Even when nothing stuck, Bowie continued. When nothing worked, he changed everything about himself. After numerous failed single careers, he traveled to Scotland in 1967 to live in a Buddhist monastery. He learned meditation, humor, and acting there. It was unusual for a rock star, but it changed his stage presence. He founded Feathers, a London comedy troupe, after returning. In odd presentations, they combined traditional music, poetry, and acting. Bowie was unique. Every failure inspired him to write differently. He changed his name that year. He played Davy Jones, but the Monkees' Davy Jones was already famous in America. Bowie altered his name because he was hard to identify. After American Ranger Jim Bowie and his knife, Bowie admired rugged people who could do their own thing. Bowie had at least 5 failed bands between 1962 and 1967. The King Bees, Mannish Boys, Lower Third, and Buzz are bands. There was no success. The BBC mocked his sound and termed him a newbie. Bowie persisted. His debut song, Liza Jane, failed, and most would have given up. Hundreds of unsold copies lingered in a garage until they were thrown away years later. Bowie continued. Mistakes drove him more. His 1967 debut album of the same name also failed. Bowie had nowhere to go after his record label sacked him. His girlfriend advised seeing Lindsay Kemp's comedy show. Kemp played Bowie's record before his show, even though Bowie didn't like mine. Bowie left. He transformed after seeing Kemp with daring and theatrical. Bowie started school. He learned to move, dress, and control the throng. He soon joined Kemp's mime play Pierrot in Turquoise, popularly known as the Looking Glass Murders. Bowie's bizarre mime experiment shaped his stage appearance afterward. His breakthrough came after years of failure. Space Oddity was released by Bowie on July 11, 1969, days before the moon landing. The timing was ideal. Space fascinated the world, and Bowie delivered the song. Bowie's first hit, Space Oddity, reached number 5 in the UK. Failure was still possible. Both the album and the next 6 tracks sold poorly. Famous songs like Changes didn't start out as hits. David Bowie's 1972 album The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars changed everything. Rock star Ziggy was alien. He had sparkly clothes, red hair, and a spontaneous energy. Bowie revealed that this figure was gay and heterosexual. No one had dissolved gender distinctions like him. He openly admitted to being gay and wore women's attire on stage and in interviews. Many were astonished and upset, yet some felt freer. Fans valued that because they saw a genuine person. On June 16, 1972, it altered rock music and how people saw themselves. It changed fashion and the LGBTQ+ movement. Bowie became the skinny white Duke in 1975. In Station to Station, this terrifying figure appeared. Bowie lost himself in it. He took up to 10 grams of cocaine daily and was addicted. He ate unusual stuff, mostly milk and red peppers. He lost weight to under 100 pounds due to lack of sleep. Cold and secretive, the Duke talked about bizarre, occult things. Bowie later admitted he didn't recall much about recording. He later said that drug usage and anxiety prompted him to talk about fascism and Nazi iconography in interviews. From late 1974 to 1976, Bowie was known as the Thin White Duke. He departed Los Angeles for Berlin to clean up, but his image was damaged. In May 1976, the loss was monumental. Bowie greets admirers from an open car at Victoria Station after returning. Many thought he was saluting the Nazis in a photo with his arm lifted. The Victoria Station incident. People were enraged, especially when he endorsed fascism. Bowie waved, not saluting, but it was too late. He uttered some worrisome things, and old photos of him with Nazi memorabilia made matters worse. In the same year, Bowie told reporters a Nazi boss would benefit Britain. He even called Hitler a pioneering rock star in one speech. Critics and fans were shocked. The Rock Against Racism movement emerged from protests. Years later, Bowie apologized, blaming drugs and the Duke. He abandoned that side by 1977. Bowie and Iggy Pop were halted at the Poland-Russia border in 1976 while touring Europe. Guards found their luggage with Nazi publications, including one about Joseph Goebbels. Bowie claimed they were for a film, but the news made him look pro-Nazi. The border incident in Brest exacerbated his troubles. He became sober in Berlin before fixing his image during one of his worst career periods. Bowie lost some British admirers with Young Americans in 1975. He collaborated with Luther Vandross and Carlos Alomar at Sigma Sound Studios after switching from glam rock to soul and R&B. In July 1975, Fame, written with John Lennon, became his first US #1. The title song peaked at 28 on the Billboard Hot 100. Young Americans ranked 9th on the Billboard 200, but underperformed with British critics. Some old fans believed he abandoned them. Bowie eventually realized that the sound had upset certain people, despite making him renowned in the US. Bowie called it the squashed remains of ethnic music as it survives in the age of music rock. Lennon's relationship gave him strange anecdotes. In 1977, Hong Kong, Lennon reportedly made Bowie eat a 1,000-day-old egg fried in horse pee. It was the grossest thing Bowie had eaten, he said GQ. On their way to try monkey brains at a restaurant, someone recognized Lennon and asked them backstage. Lennon allegedly joked about giving him the rotten egg. He recounted this Bowie story so often that everyone believed it. Many odd things happened on that journey. Bowie remembered that Lennon drank snake blood, a traditional Chinese medicinal method, after being escorted to an underground eatery. Another narrative of excess and dark comedy on the road illustrated Bowie's tumultuous life. Bowie feared flying for a long time, so he generally traveled by boat and train. From 1972 to 1977, he didn't fly. He crossed the Atlantic in ships like the Queen Elizabeth II. He was afraid of short excursions. Bowie famously stated, "If it flies, it's death." He meant he might not return if he flew again. Planes weren't his forte till later. It bothered him to follow rules. David Bowie and Brian Eno collaborated in 1976, but no one understood what would happen. Record name Low. RCA Records was unsure what to do. Low has two distinct personalities. First one had many short, odd, almost pop songs. Long, melancholy solo tracks dominated the second. The tracks Warsaw and Subterraneans were amateurish. I felt they were frightening icy landscapes. Voices of Bowie arrived in ghostly. Eno oversaw everything. His ambient music was homemade. RCA delayed US release for 3 months because it was too odd. They kept quiet because of fear of losing money. It reached number 2 in the UK after first failing in the US. Its bravery became apparent slowly. Bowie and Eno made more than a record. The sound of rock music changed forever. That change continued. Heroes debuted in 1977, Lodger in 1979. Heroes was louder and livelier than Low. Robert Fripp played these insane, harsh guitar parts. Eno played synths strangely. Producer Tony Visconti used 3 microphones at varying heights for Bowie to sing the title tune. That's why his voice is raw and forceful. While Bowie sang, distant mics picked up sound. Heroes reached number 3 in the UK and 35 in the US. More may go wrong with Lodger. They had distinct styles, but it didn't work right away. It peaked at #4 in the UK and #20 in the US. Many critics didn't get it. Many assumed Bowie was lost. People discovered how much these songs had changed them years later. This odd and daring moment inspired many artists, including Joy Division and Gary Newman. Bowie had left LA by then. Moved into a dark Doheny Drive house in 1974. He was ruined by coke. He survived on milk, peppers, and paranoia. He thought witches would steal his soul. The moment was horrible. After that, Bowie contacted LA. His worst experience was there. He was exhausted and afraid by 1976. He probably got lucky moving to Europe with Iggy Pop. The darkest days of my life. Berlin aided his concealment. It felt heavy and tight with the wall split. A star passing by didn't matter. His music had a peculiar calm vibe. Every note of Warsaw and Art Deco, and even Heroes' 2 lovers kissing on the wall, reflected. All 3 records felt risky. RCA feared Low would quit making music. It was barely mentioned. American fans initially struggled with Heroes. Lodger was considered the weakest of the 3. However, everyone changed their views. The series is currently considered Bowie's best. It produced Joy Division fans and electronics pioneers like Newman. Bowie said those years were his DNA. In 2017, the records were boxed. New city, new job. From the 1970s, what appeared wild now seems crazy. Bowie made movies and songs simultaneously. The 1976 film The Man Who Fell to Earth starred him as Thomas Jerome Newton. The role reflected his fragile, strange nature. Director Nicholas Ruick picked him. After watching Cracked Actor, despite his addiction, Bowie was brilliant and courteous on set. The movie's cuts and silences felt dreamlike. Not all reviewers liked it. Some loved Bowie's extraterrestrial role. It generated $3 million worldwide and cost $1.5 million. According to Ruick, Bowie wasn't playing. He appeared to have gone down. His surprises kept coming. In 1986, he played Goblin King Jareth in Labyrinth. Jim Henson considered Michael Jackson or Prince. Late Bowie was wonderful. He wore tight pants, sung Magic Dance, and swung crystal balls around his hands. The $25 million film initially failed in the US. It earned $9 million in Japan and $4.5 million in the UK. It was popular outside Japan. It became cult over time. Jareth costumes are still used during midnight screenings. He was a vampire before. The Hunger 1983 cast him as John Blaylock. He played an ageless 200-year-old who aged in days. Bowie was 36 that day, but spent hours applying artificial makeup to look like a dying elderly man. Bowie and Deneuve entered a bar to Bowie House music at the start of the film. It cost $10 million to film, but earned $12.3 million worldwide due to mixed reviews. Not everyone liked it. Some enjoyed the appearance. After many years, Bowie smiled and claimed he played a 130 year-old when I was 38. The hunger remains one of his most stylish and terrifying roles, according to aficionados. He made short films when not starring in long ones. He received a 1984 Grammy for Jason for Blue Jean, a humorous music video. Vic, an awkward fan, and Screaming Lord Byron, a boastful rock star, were performed by Bowie. He mocked himself. A Grammy for Best Video was won. It demonstrated Bowie could still joke about himself at his peak. His few living awards include this one. A Little Kent record office hosted David and Angie Bowie's first wedding in 1970. Their relationship was strained. After the wedding, Angie revealed she only married to work in the UK. Bowie denied loving her before the wedding. Their relationship lasted 10 years. Those years were full with parties, wild stories, and friendly discussions. Dunk Jones, their son, was born May 30th, 1971. Bowie valued Angie at the moment. She inspired his Ziggy Stardust character and hit songs. Slowly, things went bad. The focus was on drugs, cheating, and crime. Angie claimed to have seen Mick Jagger and David Bowie in bed. Their marriage ended in 1980. Angie escaped with $500,000. She left Duncan with Bowie. She hoped fatherhood would settle him. Angie later felt she harmed Duncan's life, and they didn't talk for years. Bowie's second major romance was different too. A mutual friend introduced him to beauty Iman Abdul-Majid in 1990. From their first meeting, Bowie loved her. She would marry him, he promised everyone. Initially, Iman was unsure. She didn't want another public, star-studded life, because she was married. Bowie was determined. He was kind to her, like delivering her flowers at the airport, or tying her shoes in the street. She grew to like him. His first marriage was crazy, but this one was honorable and private. The pair didn't want fame. They wanted a peaceful life together. They married in Lausanne, Switzerland, on April 24, 1992. A tiny private event. Florence had a larger party June 6th. Iman would never forget the rainy day. Raining on a wedding was lucky, people told her. They were right. They loved one another and wanted a family, but becoming pregnant was difficult. About 40 years old, she tried for 15 months but failed. She became pregnant when she thought it would never happen. Someone urged Iman to do a Somali tradition to help. She clutched her friend Christy Brinkley's baby all day, hoping it would bring her joy. Later, she and Bowie would have a child. Phoenix Zahra Jones, known as Lexi, was born at 5:06 a.m. at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. On August 15, 2000, she was 7 pounds 4.6 ounces. Bowie was there throughout and snipped the wire. He accidentally found bliss later. Lexi's name was deliberate. Alexandria means defender of people. Iman's grandpa changed her name from Zahra to Iman, referencing her Somali heritage. They thought Lexi's name reflected their character and origins. Bowie and Iman worked hard to give Lexi a good upbringing. Despite their fame, they kept Lexi away from cameras. They sent her to New York public schools to grow up like other kids. Iman posted an 18-year-old Lexi photo. Modeling agencies and designers called immediately. Lexi didn't want a model. Iman informed them. Lexi should be able to live her life without publicity. She argued. In June and July 2014, David Bowie recorded Sue or In a Season of Crime for his farewell album Black Star. His life would never be the same. Doctors diagnosed him with liver cancer. Almost nobody knew. Bowie told few close friends and family. In January 2015, Lazarus director Ivo Van Hove and production director Tony Visconti learned. Black Star musicians didn't know. Bowie worked despite chemo's effects. He lost his hair and weakened, but his artistic desire remained. He appeared in New York's first Lazarus Night on December 7, 2015. That was his last public appearance. Comfort was always important to him. He didn't want to die publicly. This fight lasted 18 months and ended in January 2016, demonstrating his strength and determination. Bowie, 69, died 2 days after Black Star's release, on January 10, 2016. News came like thunder. It stated Bowie died peacefully at home and was shared by his son Duncan Jones. Nobody but his close friends and family knew about his sickness. Fans received Black Star, a gloomy experimental song with ambiguous words, before they left. He was secretly torched in New Jersey on January 12. No funeral or show. Merle had international followers at his New York apartment and outside. Music sales skyrocketed. The tributes poured in. Since Bowie left so much work, it felt like an era had ended. That loss hit Lexi, his 15-year-old daughter. Alexandria's mother, Lexi Jones, was always close to her father. His sudden demise devastated her. She wrote later of being lonely, trying to fill an endless emptiness with harmful behaviors. She felt lost, angry, and alone, with all the attention. Lexi isolated herself and repelled others. Things were bleak then. Lexi was in uncontrollable pain, even with her mother Iman and half-brother Duncan. She fought with her family and said terrible things to hurt them. Lexi would remember this as her family's destruction. She ended powerful partnerships. Pain altered her self-image. Lexi dubbed herself a monster to avoid admitting she felt terrified and sad. She masked her pain this way. Lexi would eventually admit her feelings, but slashes left visible scars. Lexi then tried art. Drawing, painting, and writing helped her cope with her disorder. Later, this technique of expressing oneself became a love that impacted her future. It also helped her recover. She began to love herself as she stopped perceiving herself as David Bowie's daughter. Lexi changed dramatically at 24. Vogue remarked that her high cheekbones, piercing eyes, and laid-back manner reminded readers of her parents' beauty. Her bold, original style combined her father's ruggedness and mother's class. It went beyond jeans. Lexi spoke. Her trendy hair and attire homaged her dad's glam rock history, yet seemed modern and tailored for her. Lexi's surprise singing debut came in April 2025. She created her own rock, electronic, and soul sound. With Xandri, her first album, Starlight Echoes, the first song, topped global charts. Rolling Stone said Lexi's sound was a courageous and startling tribute to David Bowie's talent while being her own. It reached number 3 on the Billboard 200 and sold over 150,000 copies in its first week. Lexi became one of the most intriguing new musicians overnight. Lexi did more than listen to music. Famous, released in 2023, featured her paintings and clothes, host her own art displays. Some of her pieces sold for 250 likes. She was compared to a Renaissance woman, since she could readily flip between worlds. She diverged from her father's path with each new artistic undertaking, yet he impacted her. Lexi made headlines again in May 2025 for her personal life. Her romance with British singer Sonny James was revealed. They hung out at Glastonbury and online. They were dating and often worked together. Much was spoken about them. As her work gained prominence, it became evident she wasn't just passing on a tradition. It was being customized by her. So pain can strengthen you. Even the saddest losses can lead to new beginnings.